Please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment on what you want me to do next. Seth Rollins triggers mayhem with a group of masked attackers. For a few seconds, the arena felt perfectly normal. The crowd buzzed with anticipation, the lights shined brightly over the ring, and the commentators spoke excitedly about the match that was about to unfold. Thousands of fans filled the arena, waving signs and chanting for their favorite superstars. Everything seemed routine, another intense night of professional wrestling entertainment. But what no one knew was that within moments, the entire atmosphere would shift from excitement to chaos. A shocking twist was about to unfold, and at the center of it all stood Seth Rollins, a man whose name had long been associated with unpredictability, brilliance, and controversy. What began as a standard match would soon turn into one of the most chaotic scenes the arena had witnessed in a long time. The bell rang and the match started like many others before it. Both competitors circled the ring cautiously, testing each other's reactions and looking for an opening. The crowd reacted to every movement, cheering loudly whenever the action intensified. Seth Rollins moved with his usual confidence, displaying the athleticism and sharp instincts that had defined his career. His opponent remained focused, knowing that facing Rollins meant preparing for both technical brilliance and sudden surprises. During the early moments of the contest, the pace remained steady. Lockups, counters, and quick maneuvers filled the ring as the two wrestlers attempted to gain control. Rollins showcased his agility, slipping out of holds and responding with quick strikes that energized the audience. The crowd erupted when he launched himself off the ropes with a perfectly timed attack that sent his opponent stumbling backward. It looked like a typical competitive showdown, until something strange began to happen. At first, it was subtle. A few figures appeared near the entrance ramp, partially hidden by the shadows and bright stage lights. Fans noticed them before the commentators did. These individuals were dressed in dark clothing and wearing masks that concealed their identities. The arena murmured with confusion as the mysterious figures slowly moved closer to the ring. Inside the ring, the match continued, but the tension outside it was building rapidly. Seth Rollins glanced toward the ramp, his expression unreadable. For a brief moment, it seemed like he already knew what was happening. The masked men approached the ring with deliberate steps, drawing the attention of security and officials who were unsure how to react. Suddenly, everything erupted. The masked attackers rushed toward the ring, sliding under the ropes and surrounding Rollins' opponent before anyone could stop them. The crowd exploded with shocked reactions. Some fans shouted in disbelief while others stood up to get a better look at the chaos unfolding in front of them. Commentators struggled to make sense of the situation as the masked men began overwhelming the lone wrestler. Rollins stepped back and watched the scene with calm satisfaction. It quickly became clear that this was not a random interruption. The attackers seemed to be working with precision and purpose, moving in coordination as they targeted Rollins' opponent. Each strike intensified the chaos in the arena. Officials attempted to intervene, but the masked group held their ground, creating a moment that felt less like a wrestling match and more like an organized takeover. Fans began chanting loudly, trying to understand the shocking development. Some called Rollins' name while others shouted in protest. Cameras zoomed in on Rollins' face, capturing the slight smile that suggested he had orchestrated the entire incident. The ring had turned into complete mayhem. Rollins slowly stepped forward, surveying the scene like a general observing a battlefield. The masked men continued their assault while the crowd roared with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. For years, Seth Rollins had built a reputation as one of the most cunning and unpredictable figures in wrestling, but this moment pushed that reputation to a whole new level. Eventually, Rollins raised his hand. Almost instantly, the masked group stopped attacking. The sudden silence created a chilling atmosphere inside the arena. Fans watched carefully, waiting to see what would happen next. The attackers stepped back, forming a line behind Rollins as if awaiting further instructions. Rollins looked down at his opponent lying on the mat and then turned his attention to the crowd. The noise from the audience grew louder, echoing throughout the arena as fans realized they were witnessing a carefully orchestrated power move. Without saying a word, Rollins lifted his arms slightly, acknowledging the chaos he had unleashed. The commentators began speculating about the meaning behind the attack. Was this the formation of a new alliance? A new faction? Or simply a statement from Rollins that he was ready to dominate anyone who stood in his way? The masked men remained silent and motionless behind him, adding to the mystery surrounding the moment. Eventually, officials and security rushed into the ring, forcing the attackers to retreat. The masked figures exited the arena just as quickly as they had appeared, leaving fans with countless questions. Who were they? Why had Rollins chosen this moment to unleash them? And what would happen next? Rollins stood alone in the ring as the chaos slowly settled. His opponent was being helped by officials, and the match itself had effectively been destroyed by the unexpected invasion. But for Rollins, the objective seemed clear. He had made a statement. The crowd continued buzzing with conversation long after the attackers had disappeared. Fans debated whether this moment marked the beginning of a new era for Rollins. Throughout his career, he had reinvented himself multiple times, evolving from hero to villain and back again. Yet this particular moment felt different. It felt strategic. It felt deliberate. It felt like the opening move of something much larger. As Rollins finally left the ring, the camera captured one last glance over his shoulder. The expression on his face was calm but confident, as if he knew the chaos he had triggered would send shockwaves throughout the entire wrestling world. The arena lights dimmed slightly as the show moved forward, but the memory of that shocking scene lingered in the minds of every fan present. One match had turned into a moment of complete unpredictability. And at the center of it all was Seth Rollins, the man who had just reminded everyone that in professional wrestling, chaos can arrive when you least expect it. Whatever came next, one thing was certain. The incursion of the masked attackers was only the beginning of the story.